Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Good Guy Sports, College Basketball Edition. College Basketball Sweet 16 as we kick things off for what should be a fascinating Sweet 16 as we are down to 16 teams in this tournament. As things stands right now in the first game, we have our beloved Duke Blue Devils taking on Rick Pitino and the Johnnies of the Red Storm St. John's team of Rick Pitino, who I don't know if you remember, but the last time Rick Pitino went up against a Duke team, he was with Kentucky at the time as a head coach, and last time it didn't go so well, but because he was head coach at Kentucky at the time, and he saw
And
Christian
Rick
Leitner.
Pitino was the head coach at Kentucky?
Yes, he was. And as a matter of
I
fact, like my
didn't know that.
dad was the head coach, and my dad was happened to be at the Spectrum Center in Philadelphia at the time. He can tell you all about it.
No way.
Oh yeah, and Christian Leitner hit the game-winning shot, and Rick Pitino was in disbelief, and he can't even believe how it all this is how it all happened to unfold and how it all went down. But this time around, all these years later, he wants payback. And Patino wants to get revenge and get that game-winning shot on the right side of history against this very Duke Rebel team led by John Shire and Caleb Foster and the Boozer brothers. But the latest I'm hearing is
Not going to happen, Jack. It's not going to
well,
happen.
you don't think it's going
Hey,
to happen?
Jackson, I'm here to tell you, man, it's not going to happen. St. John is going to be flushed down the Porta John. And Duke, who has had two close games that are too close for them, they're going to come back with a vengeance, man. You got to, if we can get Carlos Boozer, Caleb Boozer,
The
Caleb Boozer,
Caleb um Caleb, yeah, Cameron Boozer.
Cameron. If we can get Cameron Boozer, the second half Cameron Boozer, goodbye St. John's. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but at the same time, you do have some injury concerns involving with Caleb Foster as a questionable injury in this game. So that's something that's something to have to keep your eye on and watch heading into this game because at times he didn't play healthy, but he didn't really put weight on it. Is really for the injury for one of their guards of the Duke team, but we are going to really need him in this game tonight, Blake, or else we're probably not going to advance into the next round. But having Caleb Foster in this Duke lineup is very important. So I think adding him into addition to this game is really key for me
Oh, he's
for this Blue
back.
Devil
That's the
team.
player that was hurt for them.
That's right.
Oh, he's
Yes,
back.
yes,
Okay. Okay.
but yes, it's a really big, it's a huge advantage for Duke if he's in the lineup. But if not, I don't see him advancing in the next round. But Foster in the lineup is a really important for our Blue Devils for this Blue Devil team in order for us to advance to the Elite Eight and possibly to the national championship. Although I'm not looking ahead of myself, even though you got to get past whoever you have to face next in that region. But yes, Foster in the lineup for our Blue Devils is very important and critical for this Blue Devils team.
Who do you think is going to win, Jack?
Ooh, I mean, I could see this one going either way, but I'm going to put it this way: if Duke if Duke wins, they are going to have to rely on Foster being healthy and the Boozer brothers and Isaiah Evans
Wait.
and Wilkins and
If
Sar
Duke,
and those
if
guys, and
Duke wins, if Duke wins, what are you trying to
then
tell me?
I'm saying
What
if
are you trying
Duke,
to tell me?
I'm trying to tell you if Duke wins,
Who do
then
you
Foster's
think's
got to
going
stay
to win?
healthy and Duke's science bench it's got to play a key role if they beat St. John's. If Foster isn't in the lineup and if Duke doesn't play their best game and healthy, then I can see them very lose the game. But St. John's is a very good, sneaky team. I wouldn't say they're as great as Duke, but those guys are pretty good. So I would just have to say, I say slightly Duke win this game, but it'll be close. But I could definitely see this one going either way. But I'm still leaning towards Duke for the time being.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Give me a score, Jackson. How much are they gonna win by?
I think Duke's going to win in like the low 80s, late 70s. I want to say like
How
80,
many
80, 81
how
for
many
this
points are they
one.
gonna win by? How many points are they gonna win by?
I want to say a combined of, let's see,
Win by
130,
10?
at least by 15 or 20.
Ooh, blowout alert. Are you kidding me? Blowout alert. That's what I'm talking about, Jack.
I'm not calling it a blowout. I'm calling it
Jackson,
a
I
little
think 15
blowout.
points is a blowout. LGD, baby. LGD. Let's go, Duke.
Well,
Let's go, Duke.
yeah, it's not going to be a big blowout, but it'll be a decent blowout. That's all I got
I'm
to
gonna
say for
tell you
this
who's
one.
gonna be happy about that. Cal Hovis. He's gonna be happy about that prediction. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Oh,
I hear you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, man. I got you. But yeah, but yeah. That's the Duke game. As for the next game, ooh, in the nightcap, ooh,
talk to me.
we got a
Is that
great one for
tonight?
you, showdown. Yes, we are
That's
talking about
tonight.
the Yukon Huskies and Dan Hurley, a great chess match of Dan Hurley and um and of the of Dan Hurley and the Michigan State Spartans, led by none other than Tom Izzo, of what would be a great coaching matchup in this one. It's already to be a great must-see TV matchup as you got Tom Izzo and those Michigan State Wolverines and those Yukon Huskies. Um, that is led by that is led by Tom Izzo and those guys. And Tom Izzo, the Big Ten, or believe it or not, already has sent the most teams this far into the tournament, as they are. The Big Ten is really by far the best conferences so far in this tournament. So,
Better than the SEC?
well, yeah, think about it. Think about it this way. So you had the defending champions Florida now got knocked out and upset by Iowa. Now
Yeah.
let me put it this way. So out of the 8 defending champions have failed to reach the Sweet 16. Ask Villanova how they did, and Virginia. Well, it's
Hmm.
a very similar situation and path for what they've went through over the last few years in this tournament. So it really shows you of how a defending champion is really hard to go back to back than it is in modern era, since UConn and Florida were the only teams that were to do it in modern history of this of this basketball tournament. So it just shows you a lot of where things are and where the sport's headed in modern era of college basketball. I think and so because of that, Purdue has survived in advance in what was a game-winning tip-in shot. Texas and the ACC now has been eliminated and they're now out of it. So it really shows you that the Big Ten as a whole really is the best conference in the tournament, which has yet to win a national championship for the first time since Tom Izzo Spartan did it in 2000. So which happened to be in Indianapolis, by the way. We'll hope they get there, but one game at a time. But I have to believe that where things stand right now for Michigan State is that they have a blue collar team. Um, Other than Tom Izzo is the longer 10 coach who has now surpassed Coach K of Duke University and has yet to chase history and so let's say if okay so let me just put it this way, let's say if Michigan State wins tonight and they go to the elite, and they win the Elite Eight, and if Michigan beats Alabama, which they most likely will, of that region in the Midwest region in Chicago against Alabama, I'm not looking ahead of myself, but let's say if they beat Alabama, and if they and then you possibly and then let's say if and say if let's say if Michigan and Michigan State meet in the national championship, that would be the that would just and I mean, and in the national championship, that would be a very and interesting post game, which today will definitely be a not a handshake happening if that scenario would have happened. But I don't think it's going to happen. But something to keep in mind if that were to happen. But I really think to me if this is going to be a very interesting game of how this one's going to play out. But man, I mean this game could go either way, Blake.
Who's going to win
About
it,
this
Jack?
game, I'll tell you what, I doubt that's going to happen, but instead, I'm probably going to take the Yukon Huskies to beat Sparty and those Michigan State. So I say Yukon is going to win this game by at least 5 or 6 points.
Okay, okay, okay. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna stay with you on that with the Hurley. Yeah, same call, Jack.
Yeah, me too, Blake. Yeah, me too. So yes, Michigan State, one of the most storied programs of basketball history of all time. Yet I don't see them going very far. They're going to move on. So yeah, I agree with you, Blake. Now let's
Right.
move on to the next game here, and and that is and that is Tennessee and Iowa State. That game being played tonight at 10 o'clock in the East Coast, where you have Tennessee and Jacobs, Gerbeski, and Armard and Giuseppe and Lisby and Jefferson and Mosby of Iowa State. And so I have yet to see what and Tennessee, to me, although they have been a very interesting story in this tournament, I have yet to see how they're going to play tonight. But I'm probably going to slightly lean towards Iowa State. The Cyclones will get it done in this one. So I am going to be
Mm,
taking the Hawkeyes to beat the Volunteers in this matchup.
okay, okay. Uh, against the Tennessee Volunteers?
Yes, against those Rocky Top Volunteers.
Sorry, Jackson can't do it. Tennessee all the way.
Yeah, I think we're all on. I
Loss.
think we're all on. I think we're all on disagreement with this one. Tennessee, although they will win this game tonight, which you predict, but they have yet to appear in a Final Four, but they've never reached this far. They have yet to make it that far, but have never, ever made it to the Final Four
Wow,
ever
that's
in
a fun
program
fact.
history. So that's something to
That's a
really
fun
keep in
fact.
mind. And Rick Barnes it seems like every year he tries to get to the Final Four, and it feels like every year he doesn't really do it. So I don't know, Blake. This might be the end of the road for Tennessee for this one. So I think Iowa State is going to move on and send the Volunteers home for the
Wow,
season.
wow. Okay.
Now, now to the next game we go on. Let's go to the Saturday slate. So we got, as mentioned on the show, the Iowa Hawkeyes taking on what would be a critical Big Ten matchup between the Hawkeyes and the Fighting Illini of Illinois. This is going to be a very interesting matchup and the biggest test that Iowa has faced, where they have knocked off heavily favored Nebraska in their last game in the Sweet 16 in a upset. The Iowa Hawkeyes, if of what I would call them a Cinderella team run, where, as I mentioned, they beat the top seeds Florida. They beat they beat the 9 seed Hawkeyes. Now they get now this is going to be a Big Ten showdown, college basketball style, between the Illini of Illinois and the Hawkeyes of Iowa. Caitlin Clark School, but this is men's basketball. This is a different competition here. But
That's right.
so this is a Big Ten matchup, and I think Wagner and Montrich and Wagner and Montrich and Banks and Strata and those guys and look, Iowa has and so Iowa for me the most um, the most incredible story basketball program of all time in this tournament, which the kind of run that they've been having lately, and I can tell you,
Jackson, is Indiana still in the tournament?
sadly, no, they're not.
Okay. I was
But
gonna so we can't have a football national championship football and basketball like
well,
from the same
it's
school like we've had with Florida.
well, it certainly feels that way. Although it's a different school in the Big Ten, if you really think about it. So I say their head coach Ben Mc, McCrum of Iowa. If you look at his bio and his history, where he has won NCAA Division II championships at Northwestern Missouri State University, where he's not a stranger in the stage, so he's done it before. So it tells me that I'm gonna that 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 my head says Iowa, but my heart will say Illinois in this one. So I think the Illinois Fighting Illini will move on and win this game by at least 1, 2 points. It'll be a close game finish, exciting finish, but I think at the end, Iowa will win it in a close game finish. So I think that Iowa is going to win this game by at least a few points in the
Wow.
end.
Okay. Okay.
Illinois moves on and goes to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
Now, let's move on to the next game. Oh, this one's exciting. We got a football matchup in college basketball. We're talking
Ooh.
Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the top seed,
Oh,
Michigan
you're right,
Wolverines.
Jackson. That's a good
Big
point. That's a
Blue in
great point.
Chicago.
Go Big
And
Blue, baby.
and that's right.
In the city, inside the windy. Wonder where they're going to play. What stadium are they playing in?
I think you know the answer to that question. In the
The
United
Bulls?
Center in Chicago, home of the Chicago Bulls. That's right. That's
No
right.
way. What a venue for a lot of reasons, man. What a cool game.
Yes, it makes it very special. So yes, this matchup is very critical where you have Michigan that has yet to make the Final Four and has yet to win a national championship um, for the first time since the Fab Five did it back in the
So,
early '90s, and so they have yet to they have yet to end that streak and win that game. This is going to be a very this is going to be just this is going to be a very critical game because Michigan on what their bigs are, well, they have yet to they have yet to make it this far, and they're going up against a Nate Oates Alabama team,
okay.
and let me just put it this way: so even though it's a different sport, but we're mistaken the basketball, but Michigan faced Alabama in the Rose Bowl in college football. I say in the basketball version part of it, um, history is going to repeat itself. So I say the Michigan Wolverines beat the Alabama Crimson Tide by 10 points in the Sweet 16. They go to Elite Eight, and the Michigan Dusty May and those players. The way that Michigan's going to win this game is going to be led by their
Former Fab Five,
former
baby.
Fab Five players in names such as Trey McKinley, Ricky Wilbur, L. Carson, Elliot Cridrow, and Nicky Burnett, and Oscar Goodman, and
How do you
Howard
like the
Dudley Jr. And those guys.
How do you like the glasses, Jackson?
Oh, I love him.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
You're definitely rocking hard at them. But anyway,
Appreciate that.
you're welcome.
I look like I used to be in the Fab Five, right?
Yeah, that's right. And the list
Okay.
goes on and on. So I think the this year's Michigan team, hope Fab Five team, hopeful that they can make it to the Elite Eight and get to make it Final Four appearance. And I think this Michigan squad can do it. They're going to win this game.
Wow. Okay. All right. Next.
Next up, we mentioned about the Duke games, and the Duke and St. John's game and Michigan State and UConn game, which, by the way, the Sweet 16 game is being played in Uncle Mike's backyard in Washington, D.C. in Capital One Arena, in case you're wondering. So where this game is being played. So just hope Uncle Mike's listening and definitely keep that in mind. So as for the next game we go. So let's move on to the next game, shall we? The final game. We got the Purdue Boilermakers going up against one of the title favorites in all of the NCAA tournament, The Arizona Wildcats.
Wow. Okay.
Wildcats.
Purdue had a big game last night.
They did. They did. Now they're going up against
Hey,
one of the title favorites,
Jackson,
the Arizona Tommy Lloyd and those Wildcats.
did you watch the game last night?
I did, and Arizona blowed out the John Calipari, our Arkansas
No,
Razorbacks last
no, no,
night.
no, no, no. Did you watch the Purdue game last night?
I
That was
did.
a
I did. That was a wild, crazy finish,
that was a
and
wild game.
yeah, it was like a back and forth crazy kind of game.
Yeah.
It was so exciting, fun to watch. But I got to tell you that now Purdue is trying to get back to the Final Four and hope that they get to play in their home state in Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium in Final Four. But in order to do that, they got to go through this tough, very good, and great talented Arizona team led by Tommy Moy, and their bigs are so huge and they're wide. They play with a lot of size, and Arizona to me is by far the most talented college basketball team that I've ever seen. They're national title favorites for a reason, and so to me, Arizona just plays. They can beat you in many ways. They play with size. They can shoot in the perimeter, and they can and in the paint, and they can make big threes. They can beat you in every ways and on the free throws, and they can make big threes and get in transition and all that stuff that they do. So Arizona can do it all. So I think so I think for Arizona and what's key to win this game is really for how they play out is led by is really to me read by Jalen Bradley and Dwayne Oshgroves and Cody Pett and Jackson Cook and Cy Guerra and Evan Nelson and Suwine Johnston and Jake Bradley and yeah
Arizona?
and yes Arizona Wildcats and so Bryson James and then you have Cody Pett, a Chandler Arizona native, and then you have Evan Nelson, who's happened to be a Tucson, Arizona native, a great player, and so far, Tommy Lloyd, their head coach, has done a great job. And as for the game itself, I have Arizona beating the Purdue Boilermakers in a blowout. I'm sorry for those who are Boilermakers fans, but they had a great season. But at the end of the day, the Arizona Wildcats are going to blow them out. They're going to the Final Four. And Arizona is moving on. They are going to go to the Final Four.
Who's going to be in that Final Four, Jackson?
Okay, Arizona. So I think Arizona, Michigan,
then I'll let you go.
Michigan, okay. and then Duke, Michigan State,
yeah,
Arizona, Duke, and Arizona's going to cut down the nets. And Arizona will be national champions for the first time.
No, wait. We'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
Don't get too much
away. I won't. But
I think I heard you though.
But I know. Sorry about that. But it was just.
You're incorrect.
I know, but it was just. I know.
Because Duke will win it all.
Yeah, well, it was just a tease that I had. That's all. That was just what it was.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I know, but all I'm saying is. Look, like you said, I'm not getting like you said, Blake.
Right?
I know that's right. I'm not getting anything ahead, like you said, Blake. But in my opinion, I just think Arizona is the best team in all college basketball. That's all I'm saying.
Jack, great talking to you, brother.
Great talking to you too, Blake Lineberger. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you hopefully next Friday. I'm Jackson Gerke, Good Guy Sports, signing off, and we will talk to all you guys next week. Have a great weekend, Blake.
All right, see you, bud. See ya.